Welcome to this special edition of The World Today. I'm Li Chuyan coming to you live in Beijing. This year's China International Fair for Trade and Services opens today in the Chinese capital. President Xi Jinping will soon address one of the events, the Global Trade and Services Summit, via video. We'll bring you live coverage of the event. The CIFTIS is one of the largest and most comprehensive services fairs in the world. And this year's event will last until Wednesday and focuses on the theme, Openness Leads Development, Cooperation Creates a Win-Win Future. For the very latest on this, we can go live to our reporter Dai Kai-yi in Beijing from the venue. Good morning to you, Kai-yi. Tell us more about it. What are you seeing? What can we expect from this year's event?
That's right, Chuyan. We're right now at the National Convention Center, and just like you said, Chinese President Xi Jinping will be delivering a video address shortly afterwards. So this year actually marks the first year that the event fully returns to its in-person or face-to-face exhibition or its version compared to previous years. So that's why we're going to see a much more expanded version compared to previous years. Thousands of companies from over 50 countries and some 24 international organizations have confirmed their participation. So it definitely features numerous overseas participants, exhibitors, and also abundant offline activities. That scale speaks to one of its biggest purposes, according to China's Commerce Ministry spokesperson, who said earlier a few days ago that the event is actually aims to further facilitate and strengthen that international and person-to-person collaborations compared to previous years, and they will do that in a practical manner. So many attending companies this year will be showcasing their latest cutting-edge technologies, their fresh new products, and aside from today's Global Services Trade Summit, there's also going to be forums, exhibitions, as well as business promotion conferences. So there's a lot to expect down the road.
Kai, over the years, how has China's trade and services developed?
That's right. It's fair to say that it's on a continuous upward trajectory, so to speak, over the years. Despite a minor decline in the year of 2020 due to COVID, it actually came roaring back. It actually revived after that. Now it retained second spot globally for 9 years in a row. And data from China's Commerce Ministry actually shows that from January to July this year, it actually has hit 3.67 trillion yuan. That's about an 8% jump compared to previous years. So it shows no signs of stopping at all. Right now, 200 countries and regions around the world conduct trade and services with China, and China has signed memorandums with 15 countries in terms of services trade. So we can say that we're not just talking about the sheer volume here, we're also talking about the quality. Experts believe that China's services trade is actually moving up the value chain, especially in terms of its export. So if we look at the data, we can see that the knowledge-intensive services have been on the rise. Actually, it refers to the intellectual property royalties, information services, telecoms, and computer services, and it has now consists of over 40% of the total China services trade import and export deal. Another area that shows great growth momentum is actually the travel sector. It actually is the fastest growing sector in the trade services in the first half of 2023. So with this year's CIFTIS, just less than 1 hour to go, we can expect those numbers to be growing even further. Back to you in the studio.
Pretty good momentum, judging from now. Thank you very much, Kai-yi Dai, live for us at the venue there at CIFTIS. Let's now take a closer look at what trade and services is and why it matters.
Trade in services refers not to the exchange of goods, but to the sale and delivery of intangible products. These services encompass a wide array of sectors, including transportation, tourism, telecommunications, and advertising. Trade in services plays a pivotal role in stimulating economies, enhancing the competitiveness of companies, and ultimately improving the quality of life for the average consumer. Services have become the backbone of the global economy and one of the most dynamic components of international trade. Trade in services has been expanding rapidly, especially in China. According to the World Trade Organization, a surge in knowledge-intensive services indicates the maturity of the country in developing its services trade and its data utilization of digital technologies. CIFTIS is an international platform for business negotiation and cooperation. This year, the UK, as the guest country of honor, will assemble its largest ever delegation for the fair. Visitors will have the opportunity to explore cutting-edge research results and technology applications through exhibitions and expert forums.
Let's get more perspectives. Joining me here in the studio is Mr. Li Yong, Chief Researcher at DNC Think Tank. Great to have you with us, Mr. Li. So CIFTIS is set to be one of the largest global exhibitions in service trade. And if you look at this year's theme, we see keywords like openness and win-win cooperation.
Yes.
Talk to us about it. Considering the current global economic climate, how important is it that we're talking about this?
Yes, I think, if everybody realizes that or knows that opening up is the precondition of development. And of course, without opening, or as many countries are doing, and restricting trade and flow of services, that actually is not going to really do good in terms of having a better development. So this opening up in this particular context, I mean, in the theme, opening up for better development, I think that is very, very unique. Particularly, it stands out actually in the context of the current global trade climate. And the second one, I think, is also very important because cooperation and the current climate, a lot of countries are talking about decoupling, de-risking, not really talking about cooperation. And cooperation is actually, is going to change the equation of 1 + 1, which means that 1 + 1 is going to be equal to, 2+ or more than 2. And that is actually an effort to build a bigger cake. And it is not really, winner takes all type of situation or zero sum. So win-win is going to be the future, and win-win is going to be the basis of cooperation. And that, I think, is, this fair, CIFTIS, and that is trying to do, and that is also China is going to provide or offer to the global business community a kind of a business environment that you can come and work together, in an open environment, and in a, to make a kind of a cooperation, that will give them a kind of a predictable win-win future.
What do you think will be the major highlight of this year's CIFTIS? Talk to us about your expectations.
Well, I think, first of all, we need to look at the CIFTIS itself, because since 2012, it has been doing kind of a different kind of a rate of upgrading changes, and this year, obviously, apart from the theme, if you see the contents of the exhibition, the forums, the topics being discussed during the forums, and the trends being represented by the different kind of exhibition, 9 of the exhibition areas that are, I think, are representing the future trend of service trade. And of course, opportunities, this is the first thing. The second is, China has designated 2023 as the year of investment. Okay, and this trade fair, is about trade in services, and after that there will be a 23rd International Fair for Trade and Investment in Xiamen. So there will be, I think, in this particular fair, there will be, quite a lot of invest in China projects, being offered to international companies as well as the domestic investors. The third one I think need to mention is, it is not normally what is going to happen in a fair. That is the signing ceremony of a UN convention on the judicial sales of ships, or the international effects of judicial sales of ships. And this is very interesting because, that convention is named after Beijing. You know, this is the first UN convention named after a city of China. So this is called Beijing Convention on International Effects of Traditional Sales of Ships. And that is of course unique and special, but it is also a recognition of Beijing's role in making the convention, you know, the agreement, you know, happening, and it is also a recognition of China's effort to promote multilateralism. You know, this is going to contribute, you know, specifically to transportation services.
And this year also marks the first year that China could hold large-scale in-person events or exhibitions, right? And more than 2,400 companies from all around the world are coming to China, coming to Beijing. Why is this so attractive to them? Why is this forum in particular special to them?
Yes, you know, previously we were talking about the kind of the topics, the trend leading contents of this, and you know, person to person, you know, especially in terms of trade fair in services, or you know, this kind of a trade fair requires a lot of people to people kind of interactions. You know, services cannot be explained just like, you know, products. You know, products, it's easy to give a demo, a stereotype, you know, for the other side, you know, of the cooperation to really to see it. But, you know, this person-to-person type of a meeting during this fair is going to give, you know, not just, you know, a feeling of the project, but also the feeling of their partner, okay? And, of course, you know, during their visit here in Beijing, they are going to have a very immersive feeling of, you know, what is happening in China. Okay, the people's, for example, the people's level of happiness, standards of living, and their confidence in future, etc., etc. You know, that will give them a very comprehensive feel of how the market is going to evolve, you know, whether they are going to have, you know, the kind of opportunities that will bring them tangible benefits and, you know, greater development.
Oh yeah, that live direct communication, it's invaluable. It could be a great platform, a powerful medium for marketing, for brand building for all the international companies around the world. And also talk to us about China's performance. I mean, the total value of China's service trade grew by 12.9% year on year in 2022 to 6 trillion yuan. That's about 830 billion US dollars, ranking the second in the world. That's according to the Ministry of Commerce. And that's the volume of it. But talk to us about the quality of it. How would you assess China's competitiveness in service trade?
Yeah, this is really a good question. You know, China has put a lot of emphasis in terms of developing trade in services, but also not just that. You know, there are policies, you know, within China regarding the development of domestic service industry, and in those years, I think, you know, China has been trying to catch the trend, to catch up with the global trend of global services, and as a result, you know, previously one of your colleagues, you know, talked about this, you know, knowledge intensive, you know, the percentage of knowledge intensive services increased to 33.5. You know, he said he used word above 40%. The exact number is 43.5%.
All right, I'm gonna, sorry to interrupt here. You're watching a live picture at CIFTIS. Let's listen in.
Heads of the transaction delegations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning. I wish to extend a warm welcome to all of you for joining the Global Trading Services Summit of the 2023 China International Fair for Trading Services. I wish also to extend sincere appreciation to the governments, international organizations, and friends from all walks of life for your support and participation in CIFTIS. the government of China attach great importance to these CIFTIS. Today, in this 2023 China International Fair for Trading Services Global Trading Services Summit, President Xi Jinping of the People's Republic of China will deliver an important video message. And Vice Premier He Lifeng of the State Council attends the summit in person and will declare the summit open. Joining us today are also President of the Republic of Benin, Patrice Talon, Director General of the WTO, Dr. Ngozi Okoye-Iweala, UNCTAD Secretary General Rebecca Greenspan, OECD Secretary General Matthias Coleman, and also ministerial guests and representatives from 42 countries and regions, diplomatic envoys of relevant countries, representatives of international organizations. Joining us today are also the heads of ministries, commissions, delegations at the central level, and from provinces, municipalities, and autonomous regions, and also the heads of chambers of commerce, business associations at home and abroad, and heads of foreign and Chinese invested companies. These CIFTIS, with the theme of opening up least development and cooperation delivers the future, centers on promoting higher standard opening up, innovation, and cooperation. The CIFTIS will hold Trading Services Summit, exhibition, forum, meeting, promotion, matchmaking, consultation, and achievement release, and other series of supporting activities. 83 countries and international organizations have joined the exhibition and hold relevant meetings. 2,400 companies at home and abroad have joined the exhibitions online and on site. We have high expectations for all distinguished guests to fully use the platform of CIFTIS to conduct active communication and exchanges, forge consensus on development, deepen cooperation on trading services, and strive to achieve more mutually beneficial and win-win outcomes. Now, I have the honor to give the floor to President Xi Jinping of the People's Republic of China to deliver video remarks.
Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, Your Excellencies, heads of international organizations, Excellencies, heads of delegations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning. On behalf of the government and the people of China, and also in my own name, I wish to extend a warm welcome and cordial greetings to friends old and new for the 2023 China International Fair for Trade in Services. This year's CIFTIS, under the theme of Opening Up Leads Development, Cooperation Delivers the Future, will continue to be an important platform to expand opening up, deepen cooperation, and guide innovation. It serves as an opportunity to build consensus, bolster confidence, and foster synergy for the development of the service sector and trade in services globally. The world today is confronted with accelerated changes unseen in a century and a sluggish economic recovery. Trade in services is a key component of international trade, and the service sector serves as an important area of international trade and economic cooperation. Global trade in services and services cooperation are gaining momentum, with accelerating trends in digital, smart, and green development, and ever-emerging new technologies, industries, and forms of business. Together, they lend strong impetus to economic globalization, revitalization of the global economy, and greater resilience of world economic growth. This year marks the 45th anniversary of China's reform and opening up. China will stay committed to advancing high-standard opening up, pursuing Chinese modernization on all fronts with high-quality development, and creating new opportunities for open cooperation across the world. In the service sector, China is ready to work with all countries and all parties to promote inclusive development with openness, enhance interconnectivity with cooperation, cultivate drivers for development with innovation, and create a brighter future with shared benefits in order to jointly bring the world economy on the track of sustained recovery. We will build a more open and inclusive environment for development. We will expand the globally oriented network of high-standard free trade areas, step up negotiations on trade and services and investment on the negative list approach, and open telecommunications, tourism, legal service, professional examination, and other services wider to the world. They will see that the national integrated demonstration zones for greater openness in the services sector, as well as qualified free trade zones at the free trade port, take the lead in aligning with high-standard international economic and trade rules. We will further ease market access for the service sector, open up cross-border trade in services in an orderly manner, make services trade more standardized, and steadfastly expand institutional opening up. We will strengthen the bond of mutually beneficial cooperation. We will increase synergy between countries' development strategies and cooperation initiatives, deepen cooperation in services trade and digital trade with Belt and Road partners, and facilitate the flows of resources and factors to cultivate more drivers for economic cooperation. We will reinforce the pathways to innovation-driven development. To generate new impetus for digitalization of trade and services at a faster pace, we will advance pilot projects and reforms of basic systems for data, and pursue innovative progress in the reform of digital trade. We will build a national exchange of voluntary greenhouse gas emission reduction and support a bigger role of the service sector in green development. We will develop trade and services through integration with modern services, high-end manufacturing, and modern agriculture to further unleash creativity. We will share the achievements of Chinese modernization. We will work to expand domestic demand, move faster in building a strong domestic market, take greater initiative to increase imports of quality services, and encourage increased exports of knowledge-intensive services. The opportunities on China's massive market will translate into new growth momentum for the whole world. And China, with high-quality development, will provide the world with more and better Chinese services that give people in all countries a stronger sense of fulfillment. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the world economy thrives in openness and withers in seclusion. Let us work together to safeguard the hard-won free trade and multilateral trading system, share the historical opportunities embedded in the development of global trade and services, and make joint contribution for a brighter future and greater prosperity of our world. Thank you.
That was President Xi Jinping delivering a speech through video at a major summit at CIFTIS. Major takeaways from the president's speech. We're going to see China continuously opening up to the world while fostering a more friendly business environment for foreign investors and enterprises, including easier market access. And second, we're going to see China promoting innovation further. A lot more can be expected on digital economy and green development. And lastly, China would love to share the benefits of Chinese modernization to the world. Let's put things into perspective with my guest, Mr. Li Yu. A lot to unpack here, but three keywords: opening up, innovation, and sharing. What impressed you the most?
I quickly, summarized my understanding of the speech, which is really great. Probably we can use 4 or 5 C's, to try to understand the messages being given through the speech to the public, to the rest of the world. I think the first one is the consistent message of opening up and China's effort to improve the business environment, including the business environment for the service industries and services or trade in services. The second one, I think, is China's commitment. China's commitment to opening up further, China's commitment to welcoming international participation and involvement, in China's service industry's development. And the third C, perhaps, is China's development, contribution, I think. China's development of service service industries in general, including trade in services, is going to be a contribution, or are going to contribute to the world well-being and in general, and to the world trade in service in particular. And the fourth C is perhaps confidence. So from Xi Jinping's speech, you can clearly feel, China's confidence in opening up, in adhering to multilateralism, and in the belief of free and an open trade. Okay, and that, I think, confidence, also injects, kind of a confidence into the business, and the business people or business community will see this confidence, and thereby, increasing their confidence in, investing in China. And the fifth C, I think it is cooperation. So cooperation is not just in China. So President Xi mentioned about global cooperation, country to country, cooperation, and that kind of a cooperation is the key, I think, of the future relationship between China and the rest of the world. And within China, of course, the theme of cooperation, creates win-win future, and that is going to be the kind of a picture and scenario we're going to see in the future. If there's a sixth one, I would say China's effort to remain, to be open to the world, okay, and contribute to the world. And President Xi Jinping particularly mentioned about Belt and Road Initiative. Right. Yes. I think what China is trying to do is for the common good of the world.
Yeah, speaks a lot to the theme.
Yes.
And he also talked about innovation, right? Digital service trade. I'm just wondering, what do you see? What could be the next big thing in service trade? What do you see as the most promising?
It was really hard to say because, services, can include almost everything. And I think the future of service trade in terms of development, I think the digital or digitization is going to be the key driver of service development. As we can see, even we can get food delivery, and that actually is the result of digitization, using big data to make sure that goods, food can be delivered to your home very efficiently. And the second thing is, digitization is going to provide a lot of opportunities for service for new service designs by studying those data, by applying digital technologies, and companies or the service providers of the service industries will be able to design new services. And that, I think, it is going to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
And yes?
And AI is all the rage now. I have to talk about it. Generative AI is such a hot topic. A lot of companies are expected to roll out AI-powered products or services at this year's CIFTIS. Any expectations on that front?
Yes, I think the application is, gives people a lot of imagination. What is going to, what kind of a situation that you're going to see, or the service environment that you're going to see with AI, being the key technologies, driving the application scenario, so-called. I think in terms of education, for example, in terms of healthcare, elder care, AI is going to have a big role to play. And there might be some kind of a new social communications. I think our imagination is limited than the fact that AI, technologies are going to provide to us. So we will have to wait and see. We're going to see excitement or exciting development in that area in improving our service industry in general, and of course, the trade in services across borders.
And the United Kingdom, as the guest country of honor, is set to be bringing the largest ever delegation. What kind of services or products do you expect them to put on display?
Yes, they are the guest country of honor. They have sent the largest delegation ever, and they are actually trying to bring in the industries of their advantage. For example, creativity, creative industry, education, healthcare, financial services, and so on. So they expect to bring their technologies, their experiences, and share them with their local counterpart, and of course, trying to increase, their trade in services with China. That, I think, is going to be the future of the bilateral trade relations in services.
A lot to expect there. Thank you very much for sharing your insights and perspectives, Mr. Li. Always good to talk to you. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
CIFTIS, the China International Fair for Trading Services, the only comprehensive global platform bringing together stakeholders engaged in trading services in 12 sectors.
Join us to see how this year's fair is promoting deeper business cooperation.
And how the future of finance in China is on display here at CIFTIS.
Check out how we can cut our own carbon footprints through technologies.
Explore new travel services and global cultures.
Bonjour à tous, nous sommes maintenant au Parc Shogun de Beijing. Les presentamos un comercio de servicios innovador, inclusivo y sostenible.
ستستخدم الشركات العالمية هذه المنصة لإجراء تبادلات معمقة مع مزيد من الشركات الصينية.
Китайская международная ярмарка торговли услугами покажет плоды сотрудничества в рамках войск и пути.
CGTN will speak to guests from 51 countries and 24 international organizations about the path of open development and mutual benefit.
Catch highlights of the Global Trading Services Fair, live from Beijing, September the 2nd to the 6th, only on CGTN.